Have you ever felt stuck? Like you have big dreams, huge ambitions, but your daily actions just don't seem to line up? You tell yourself, I'll start tomorrow, but somehow, that tomorrow never quite arrives. If that sounds familiar, then you're going to want to hear the story of a young man named Arav. Arav was just like many of us. He yearned for a life of success, a life filled with accomplishment, peace, and genuine happiness. He had the vision, but his reality felt stagnant. His dreams were monumental, but his habits were small, inconsistent, and often non-existent. The gap between who he wanted to be and who he was felt like a vast, uncrossable canyon. Every evening he'd go to bed with a renewed sense of determination, promising himself that the next day would be different. But when morning came, the old patterns would creep back in, and he'd find himself right back where he started. One crisp morning, while walking through a park feeling particularly discouraged, Arav crossed paths with an old mentor, a wise man known for his calm demeanor and insightful advice. Seeing the look of frustration on Arav's face, the mentor approached him with a gentle smile. He didn't offer empty platitudes or complicated strategies. Instead, he asked a single powerful question that cut right to the heart of the matter. "Arav," he said, his voice kind yet firm, "do you want success or do you want excuses?" The question hung in the air. Arav hesitated. He had never thought of it that way. In his mind, he was just waiting for the right moment, for a burst of motivation, for things to feel easier. But the mentor's question reframed his entire struggle. Was he choosing excuses over action? The mentor, seeing the conflict in Arav's eyes, continued, "Success is not a monumental event that happens overnight. It isn't built in a single day of heroic effort. True, lasting success is built one small habit at a time, repeated with unwavering consistency. Your life, right now, is simply the sum of your habits. What you do every day matters more than what you do once in a while." Arav wasn't entirely convinced. Could something so small truly lead to something so big? It sounded too simple, almost too good to be true. He was used to thinking in terms of grand gestures and massive leaps forward. The idea of focusing on tiny, seemingly insignificant actions felt counterintuitive, but he was tired of being stuck. He was tired of his own excuses. Looking at the mentor's serene and confident expression, he thought, "What do I have to lose?" He decided to give it a try. So, he began. He didn't try to overhaul his entire life in one go. Instead, he focused on tiny, manageable habits. He set his alarm just 15 minutes earlier than usual. It wasn't a drastic change, but it gave him a few quiet moments to himself before the chaos of the day began. Instead of promising to read a whole book, he committed to reading just a few pages every day, and before starting his work, he took 1 minute to write down the single most important goal for that day. These actions felt almost laughably small. Could waking up 15 minutes earlier really change his destiny? Could reading 3 pages a day make him wiser? It felt insignificant, almost too small to matter. Days turned into weeks. At first, not much seemed to happen on the outside, but inside, something was shifting. The 15 extra minutes in the morning gave him a sense of control and calm. Reading a few pages each day slowly filled his mind with new ideas and perspectives. Writing down one daily goal brought a laser-like focus to his efforts. He was no longer drifting through his days reacting to whatever came his way. He was starting his days with intention. He noticed he was feeling more productive. He was more focused. And most importantly, he felt more in control of his own life. The real magic began to happen as these small habits started to stack on top of each other. Waking up earlier gave him time to read. Reading gave him ideas for his daily goal. Achieving his daily goal gave him a sense of accomplishment, which motivated him to stick to his habits the next day. It was a positive feedback loop. This was the momentum the mentor had talked about. The small, consistent efforts were compounding, like interest in a bank account, building a foundation that eventually transformed his days, his weeks, and then his months. Of course, it wasn't always easy. There were days when he felt lazy. Days when the old urge to hit the snooze button was overwhelming, or when scrolling through his phone felt much more appealing than picking up a book. On those days, when his motivation waned and distractions called his name, he would pause and recall his mentor's wisdom. He'd remind himself, big achievements are built on small, consistent actions. I don't have to do everything at once. I just have to do this one small thing right now. He wasn't aiming for perfection. He was aiming for consistency. He learned to forgive himself for the occasional slip-up and just get back on track the next day. This mindset shift was crucial. It was about progress, not perfection. Months later, Arav took a moment to look back. He was astonished. The person he was now felt worlds away from the frustrated young man who felt stuck in the park. He had read dozens of books. He had launched a project he'd been dreaming of for years. He felt healthier, more confident, and genuinely happier. He had accomplished things he once thought were impossible, things that belonged to the realm of someday. And the most incredible part? There was no single dramatic turning point. There was no lottery win or stroke of luck. His secret was surprisingly simple. It was the quiet, unassuming power of small habits, repeated daily, that had completely transformed his life. Arav's story is a powerful reminder for all of us. Your life is the sum of your habits. You are what you repeatedly do. If you want to change your life, you don't need more motivation or more willpower. You need better systems. You need smaller habits. So, what's one tiny, ridiculously small habit you can start today? Not tomorrow, but today. Maybe it's drinking 1 glass of water as soon as you wake up. Maybe it's doing 5 push-ups. Or maybe it's writing down one thing you're grateful for before you go to sleep. Whatever it is, make it so small you can't say no. Then, just do it again tomorrow. That is the path to transformation. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon built of tiny, intentional steps. Start small, stay consistent, and watch as your life begins to change in ways you can't yet imagine. I hope Arav's journey has inspired you as much as it has inspired me. It's a beautiful illustration of how small, consistent efforts can lead to profound changes. If you enjoyed this story and want to fill your days with more motivation, wisdom, and inspiration, make sure to subscribe to our channel. We share stories like this every week to help you grow wiser and stay inspired. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.